Welcome back to Stewart Arts. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about this thin parting tool that I made out of an old kitchen knife. I like this tool for working on small projects like this piece here, where you don't want a lot of kerf. You don't want a big cut line. The larger cutting tools are appropriate for larger sections, but for doing small work, especially things like match grain, lidded boxes, things of that type, I like to go with a thinner cutting tool. So I made this thing out of a kitchen knife, and I thought I'd just take a minute and share how I did that. I stole this thing out of a drawer in the kitchen, and I don't know how much we paid for it, but I do know that when you go to the thrift stores and so forth, you know, these types of knives, 50 cents or a buck, you know, usually there's a box of them there. And the blades really make a nice stock to make one of these tools. I didn't make this thing too long. I feel like this thin blade, it's a little bit flexible compared to the typical tools that you get. So I'd be a little nervous about trying to part something that's overly thick. Use this pretty much for small stuff. But it's just an old kitchen knife. This one here was flat. I think you want to go with a flat blade versus one that's wedge shaped. You don't want one that's too fancy. But this is an inexpensive one, but it's made out of a tough stainless material of some kind. First thing I did with this is I just put it on the grinder, and I just took the blade off. That felt a little odd doing that because usually I sharpen things on my grinder, but in this case I just took the blade completely off of it and then just cut this point on here. So I got a nice little cutting surface right there. And for the handle, this thing had a cheap black plastic handle on it, and the handle only came to about here. So I wanted to make sure I had a little bit of leverage for this tool, so I just made this little handle for it. It's just a piece of pine, and I wanted it to be a little bit longer, and I wanted a hole in it so that I could hang it on my lathe. It's not fancy, but I sure enjoy using it. It probably took me about 45 minutes or an hour to put this thing together, and I enjoy it every time I take it off of the tool rack. So let's see how the thing works. Here's a plinth for my one of my Betty Page figurines, and I'm just going to use the thin parting tool. Now in this case, it's not critical to have a thin part, but just for the purposes of demonstrating how nicely it works here. There you go. Turns out very nice. I'll be doing a video here pretty soon on doing this particular casting. I'm really having a lot of fun with it. Well, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, I sure hope you'll leave me a like and a comment. And if you haven't decided to become a subscriber to the Stewart Arts channel, I hope you'll go ahead and do that. Try to put out a new video every week or so. Try to keep it interesting and entertaining. If you're ever in the neighborhood, stop by. I'll give you the nickel tour.